Hi. We are live on Thursday evening. Welcome to this live video. Yay! Great. This is lovely. So people are joining. Excellent. I need to put my glasses on now because I can't read. This is so sad, isn't it? I can't read who's saying hello. So, hi Karen. Hi Sue. Hi Philippa. Excellent. I'm going to wait to let a few more people join in. Hi Debbie. I'll say a few hellos. Hi Joanne. Hi Jane. So first of all, hi Sue. Please will you show me some hearts if you can hear me okay. So I don't want to do all this and then there's no sound or something. Hi Maxine. Hi Jane. So it'd be great if you can just send me a few hearts. Yeah, lovely. Okay, that's excellent. So I'm guessing you can hear me loud and clear. Hi Catherine. Hi Paula. Hi Sue. Hello Jeannie. Excellent. Okay, so I'm going to show you tonight the cards that I put up on Facebook earlier. So I'm going to show you the different techniques to make those. Going to run through the products that I've used as well, so that if you want to have a go, you know what it is that you need. So yeah, so some inky backgrounds, bit of water splashed on them. Hi Jill. Hi Susie. Hi Maxine. Oh, thank you Maxine. Yes, I had it cut today. Thank you. I've been shorn. It was so long. It's so nice. Lovely. Oh, you're watching in Crete. Hi Liz. Amazing. That would be nice. Oh, this is lovely. So yes, I'm going to do some inky backgrounds and we're going to do a bit of splattering. We're going to do some texture paste as well. So we've got some lovely dimensional texture in the background and it's all glittery and sparkly and lovely. And then some watercolouring for our stamp designs and then some die cuts for the wording. So I'm going to flip you around. We'll have a little look at the cards and everything and then I'll get started. So bear with while I just change the direction. Okay, so let me get you all lined up properly so it's in my camera properly. It's a little bit higher. That's better. I can see it better now, so I can see if it's nice and light. Excellent. So these are the cards that I made, and in case you haven't guessed, I'm rather loving the rainbow effect at the moment. So I have a selection of different colours. So very similar technique and everything. A few different elements that I've changed on each of the cards. But yeah, so I wanted to do something that was just one colour tone, other than my leaves obviously, but I could have had pink leaves if I wanted to. There's nothing to say you can't. So I created the background using watercolour card and I've got some lovely dimensional paste, texture paste on here. It's actually the Nuvo Glimmer Paste that I've used, and this is the Moonstone one. So it takes on whatever colour is underneath, which is really, really lovely. So you've got that real sparkle and everything in there. And then we've got the die cut words that I've used and then some white embossing onto the black. If there's any questions, it's really hard when I'm chatting and trying to explain things to read the questions as well. So if there's any questions, I will come back at the end or afterwards and answer anything if there's any questions. So I also did a yellow one, and this one slightly different, used a butterfly and then that big thankful die cut which was from Stampin' Up, which I love as well. Absolutely beautiful. And just like it's really nice just having that one colour. Oh, hello Peter, you're awake. I wonder how long you'll stay awake. Aren't you away at the moment? Haven't you got better things to be doing? Bless you. Thank you for joining us anyway. So I've got some glitter glues and stuff like that on the butterflies as well, and just those few bits of sequins. But just think it's really nice to have like one colour tone. This one, no flowers, just a butterfly. But again, and you can see that lovely texture paste, and it takes on the colour that you've used in the ink pad. So it's absolutely beautiful. Gorgeous with the blue as well. So again, just with the thanks, I used lots of different stencils that I've had for ages and not really done anything with, so it's really nice to get those all out again as well. So, and then one last one with a limey green one. These ones here that I did actually use all my Distress Oxides to do, but you could do them just as easily with the Eyes Ink ink pads as well. So I'm going to run through what you need. So they're the cards that I've made to show. And I'm just going to run through. So you need a piece of watercolour card. This was ones from Craft cards that we used to have. So just, it's got a slight texture to it, but watercolour cardstock. I've then got a 6x6 card, a piece of black card, because I use this little strip along the bottom here, which I really think makes everything pop off your card. So they're the bits I need for my card. Then I've got the Nuvo Glimmer Paste. And this is the Moonstone one, which is absolutely beautiful. It's so, I didn't think I was going to be able to open that. That would have been bad, wouldn't it? It's super, super sparkly and a lovely thick paste as well. It's fabulous to use and it dries really quickly. So you need your Nuvo paste, and for the embossing, I've got some already prepared. So I've got a butterfly and a leaf and a flower, but I use my Wow opaque bright white regular embossing powder and the fabulous embossing pad from Wow as well, which is absolutely fantastic. For the one I'm going to do tonight, I'm going to use the carved pumpkin and twisted citron in my distress ink pads, but you can do this with any ink pads, whether you've just got dye-based ink pads, whether they're from Stampin' Up, it doesn't matter whose they are, whether they're just the original dye-based distress ink pads, whether they're any of your beautiful Eyes Ink pads. All of these will work with this technique absolutely perfectly. I've got my spritzing bottle, my distress sprayer with some water in, ready to go. I've got some kitchen roll to blot it off. I've got my water brush, which I used when I did my colouring in with the ink pads. And I've got a blending sponge to put my ink on. And I have my spatula for my texture paste. And I recently bought this lovely stencil. Let's put it on black background, that's better. I got this one at the weekend when I went and had a little look around Crafts You Love, which is a little local shop to myself. Fantastic range of products there, but yeah, I got this, one of the things I bought when I was there. So that's the stencil that I'm going to use. Okay, so let's move everything out of the way and get started. Move those bits off. Oh, and the stamps that I've used, so now these are old ones, which I do apologise for, which you might not be able to get, but any flower stamp will do. But I am going to show you. So this is the Penny Black set, and it's probably called, bear with, it's called Petal Party, so you might find it somewhere, but it is a beautiful flower. And then the other butterflies that I use were also, these were Hero Arts, and these are cling stamps, and these are called Butterflies 3 Images. So that'd be nice and easy. Okay, so I'm going to move my pieces of card. So I wanted you to be able to see my cards beautifully to start with, and I'm going to work on my craft mat. So I've got my piece of watercolour cardstock, I've got carved pumpkin, and I've got a sponge dauber to add some colour to this. I'm going to pick this up and I'm going to start at the bottom. I want the colour to be very strong at one end. I was trying to make it look a bit ombre like, so I wanted to have really strong colours at one end and then it fading out as we go to the other end. So because this sponge has got a nice lot of ink in there, I probably won't need any more ink, but just go, I'm not pushing as hard, so I can push really hard at the beginning and get lots of ink right down at the bottom edge, and then much softer with my sponge, and then I can vary the strength of that ink as well. So just working that in, so you pick up some of the texture that you've got in that watercolor card as well, which is beautiful. Okay, so that's my background done. And I was going to get a baby wipe and just wipe up the back and just clean this off as well. So I have my graduated background. I'm then going to take my spritzing bottle because I want to add that, I love that splattered of the water, so I'm just going to splat some water on it. I've taken the tube, the nozzle out of the spray bottle, and I'm using my pokey tool just to tap it, and you get really nice big droplets of water this way. I don't know if I can pick it up on the camera very well. Yeah, you can see that. So I've got really nice big droplets of water. Now I can put a piece of kitchen paper or something similar on the top, and it's going to blot all that water, and when I lift this off, you're going to have that lovely white of the watercolour card is revealed. So it just gives you that really lovely bit of texture. We've got somebody else, Kathy from Menorca. Oh, hello Kathy, how lovely. I can't believe you're all on holiday and you're watching. Never mind, it's lovely. I'm really chuffed. Thank you very much for joining us. Okay, so I'm going to take my stencil and I'm going to take my Nuvo Glimmer Paste, the Moonstone, and I'm going to pick up some of the paste onto the back of my spatula. And then, now this is when you put it on and it's a bit like, see, I'd have twice as much as that because I was going to say it's like putting butter on bread. I'd have loads. Anyway, you just need to scrape this, and it's quite random. It doesn't matter if you get whole hearts, little hearts, bits missing. That is almost like what you want, really. So I've got a little piece up in one corner. Then I'm going to move my stencil. I tend to do it, as I do most things, in odd numbers. So I'm going to have a section down the bottom here, and again I want it to be random. I want it to be half hearts and part, so that you're getting part of it and not all of it each time. But it's just so beautiful. And then I'm going to place my stencil down the side here, and I'm just going to give myself, let's move it up a little bit, hang on, let me wipe that bit off, although I can pick it up. You don't waste any of this, you can go back in the pot. So now I'm going to have that little thin border of hearts down the side there. So again, scraping everything off of here as much as possible. All the bits that you've got left go back in your pot. The one thing I would do if you're doing this not as a live demo, can you see how that's coloured that slightly? You want to make sure that it's all dry before you put it back in your pot. Okay, you want to make sure that the ink has dried before you add your shimmer paste, because this is tinged with yellow, but I will just put it on the edge and then I can use it again for a yellow one and keep the other side not contaminated. So if you're doing that at home, leave your inks to really dry well. You could even do it with a heat tool, and that would help to speed it up. You do need to clean your stencils off straight away. Do not leave them to dry, because else you will not get it off. Another good way to get them clean as well, which somebody had told me about, was to put them to soak them in some water as well, and to use antibacterial hand wash, believe it or not, is apparently very good for getting them clean. So just wipe this over. So I've got my stencil as clean as I'm going to worry about now while we're filming. Okay, so this is got that lovely texture paste in those heart shapes, and it's already taking on some of the ink. So it's looking, because it's translucent, but it picks up on that yellow of the ink that you've actually put, or the orange rather, that we've put on. So I'm going to leave that to dry, put that to one side, and I will just move it out of the way a little bit because I don't want to pick up. Let's pop that up there, and then that's out of the way. Just wipe my mat down again, don't want any of that glitter on there. So then what I've done is I've heat embossed some of the designs. So I had my flower and my butterfly that I've already done, but I wanted to show you. So these were some that I did the other night. So I've just stamped and embossed with the Wow Embossing ink pad, and then the white powder and heated them up. So, and again, heating them from behind, like Marion said, because it gives you that lovely smooth finish. So I've just done a few other designs that I can use for cards later on, but I just wanted to show you how I've done it. So I've got one here that I've actually got butterflies already pre-embossed on here. So I thought it'd be really nice just to show you how to add that little bit of colour, how I did it. So just a little bit of ink on a mat or something similar, so you just want a hard surface. Then I've got a water brush and I'm just making sure that the water's coming through nicely, and I can pick up with the water brush some of this ink and I can start to add colour to my design. And because you've got that white embossing, it gives you such a lovely edge to colour up against. It is so therapeutic, it really is. It's really easy to do because you've got that, it gives you like a raised border, and it makes it, oh, it's just lovely. I love colouring like this, it really is. So you can go back in, you can add more colour to certain areas, so you can really have lots of colours just in specific places that you want. So let's do the other side. So I would give it like a general all over colour first of all, and the more water that you add to this, the more you can move it around. But like I say, that white embossing just acts as that barrier and holds everything in place and makes it so easy to do. So if you've not done something like, and you can use any type of ink pads to do this, whether you've got distress, whether they're distress oxide, the eyes inks will work like this as well. So it's just absolutely beautiful. And then just going back in, so we'll pick up, we want a bit more colour in that centre piece, maybe this piece down here. So you have the fun of adding that colour. You decide where you want it to be stronger, and just keep going back over with that ink and filling those areas in. So you've got those lovely designs, and you know it's the right colour because you've used the same colour ink pad as you did the background with, so you know it's exactly the right colour. So I wanted to show you as well, just so that I know lots of you have the eyes ink pads, and I do love them, they're beautiful. So I just want to show you with that as well. So if I just clean that off, and I'll just we'll pick the cerise one. So I just have a little bit of colour. Again, just tapping that down onto my sheet. Then I've got another butterfly at the top there. So I've cleaned off the edge of my brush. Again, just making sure that my water's coming through. It's a bit, let me grab another one, sorry. It's not flowing particularly well. See, when you squeeze, the tube has got water in it, and when you squeeze it, it should flow nicely, and this one isn't either. Oh no! Hang on, we've got one more. Let's try this one. So, yay, now you can see the water on my hand, so much better. So I'm picking up some of the water, some of the ink from the eyes ink this time. And remember, these are really lovely vibrant colours, so you won't need a lot of colour to get really bright vibrant tones on that embossing. Oh, it's just, they are fab. And then so you can go back in again, you can add more colour. So again, that lovely embossing, just making it really easy. And then all I did was I sat there and just cut out around the edge of the embossing. So just gave it a little bit of a border and cut out what I wanted to use. So you can see there that the eyes inks are going to give you just as nice as effect with all those lovely bright vibrant colours that you've got in there as well. So whichever ink pads it is that you want to use, they'll be absolutely fine to do that, and just to use the water brush to colour, or a wet paintbrush even. It doesn't have to be a water brush, it can be a cup of water with a wet brush. Hello Matt. Oh, you're not directing. You could come and direct here. So it's absolutely beautiful. Okay, so we've got our butterfly, I've got my flower, I've done a few die cuts as well. So I die cut the same word several times. Now this is one thing that I really love to do. I like to layer these up so that they're nice and bulky rather than just being one layer. I just think it gives it such a much nicer effect. So I'm going to put some glue down, and I'm just going to tap these letters into the glue, so it's going to get into all those fiddly bits. and then I can place this down on top of my other die cut word, and because you've got the glue it gives you that little bit of wiggle room, so you can line everything up and get those beautifully lined up and they'll stick together. So you're already getting something that's textured and you've got a bit more dimension, and it's really going to stand out because it's quite a fine looking word as well. So then do it again. So again, just placing the letters in amongst the glue that I've put down and just picking up little bits on it, and then I can overlay on the top. So building those layers up each time, so we've now got that beautiful dimension to the word as well. Let's lay that on the top. Like I say, you do get that bit of wiggle room, which is lovely because it is hard sometimes to get the word lined up nicely. Okay, so now we've got our word, our die cut, but it's got some dimension to it because we've got those 3 layers all stuck together. So I'm going to bring back my piece of texture paste. I can see in places where it's still quite white, it's not quite dry, but we'll go with it, we'll manage. So I'm just going to, I like to have, let's move that out of the way. I want a very thin strip of black cardstock along the bottom of my card. So I'll cut a little bit of black. Then going to take my 6x6 card and I'm going to put some glue on the back. Now this is going to be difficult because I think I'm going to have to trim this down. I might need to do it with scissors. Okay, so I'm going to place this on my card blank towards I've got a bit of an uneven border, but that's how I like it. And I've got to remember I'm going to put a little strip of black along the bottom here as well. So I am going to have to trim a little bit off, but I can't turn it over and firm it down because that's still a little bit wet, that paste. But this bit up here is dry. I mean, that is incredible. That's dried so quickly. That really has. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of glue along the bottom here. And then I'll be able to add my little strip of black, which I think just defines the bottom of the card. It almost acts like a border, so it just, I don't know, it really works. And it looked very different when I didn't have that there. So it was much better with that little strip of black along the bottom. Now I'm going to need to trim. Let's try trimming it with scissors. I hate doing this, but I would always do this with a craft knife. So we will see. And I can also feel that the card, the watercolour card, is quite wet. So you'd be best to leave that to dry. So it's not just, it's the inks that are in there and everything. But yes, so that's looking lovely. I've then got my words. So I'm going to pop my word down first. And I'm going to put a little bit more glue down. And again, just touch all the letters into that little bit of glue. And then I can decide where I'm going to put it. So I was thinking I could have my butterfly down here. I'll have my flower and my leaf. So I'm really going to have my thanks around there. So it's always good to lay everything out, plan your card, have some idea. Obviously I'm being dictated because I've got the 3 bits of texture paste on there. And somebody was asking me the other day about how I decide on my design. There's a rule of thumb about making a triangle. If you make a triangle, it's just pleasing on the eye, and your eye moves around the card and sees all the different elements if you keep them within that triangle. So by putting the texture paste, I've got a triangle there, and then by having my butterfly here and my word, and then I would automatically put my flower and my leaf here, so I've got another triangle going on. So that's sort of how I lay things out, and just if it's pleasing to my eye, then that's what I go with basically. Going to overhang the butterfly a little bit over the texture paste, which I think looks lovely. Now I cut into all the petals on this flower so that I can curl and shape and lift my petals up, because you need to have that bit of dimension. I don't want it just to be flat onto my card. So literally curling and shaping, using my fingers just to lift those petals up. So I'm actually putting my nail into the flower against my finger, and the softness of my finger underneath is allowing me to bend and shape that petal, those petals better. So a bit of glue on the back, and we'll add my flower. Always like to curl and shape the leaves as well, so I just tend to curl it over and then I bend a little bit back so I've got a flat edge to add my glue to, and then I can pop that just underneath one of the petals a little bit. And then I've also stamped from the Hero Art set that I used last week, You Are Amazing, and I'm going to tuck this just underneath. In fact, I'm going to trim it down a little bit because it's a little bit too wide for me. So I'm just going to pop it in my guillotine, and I'm going to trim off a little bit of the black and get it as thin as possible, just so I've got that, it's a much nicer, thinner strip to go on my card. Okay, so line everything up. Don't want to chop my letters off. Okay, and then I'll just chop this down in size a little bit as well, so I'm just making it that little bit smaller. Okay, so let's get rid of my guillotine. I just need some foam pads put on the back. So it's really not, I like to have that little bit of dimension just to raise it up. So just a couple of those, and then I will pop this, whoops, underneath my thanks, tuck it just under the wing as well, I think, of my butterfly. So there we have one card that you've seen start to finish, so with the beautiful texture paste. So that's the Nuvo Glimmer Paste, and it's the Moonstone, so that really lovely sparkly texture to it that I've used through the stencil. We've got our die cuts again, so it's giving us even more dimension. Got that lovely white embossed butterfly that I just loved doing the colouring, and then we've also got the flower that we've curled and shaped our petals on as well. So absolutely beautiful. If you leave me a comment on this video, I will pick a winner, and I will announce the winner tomorrow, and I'll post the card out to them as well. So I'll give you till tomorrow evening so that other people get a chance to watch as well. So I'll put that to one side, and we just have one final look at the cards that I made in the other colorways, because it's really nice just how different it looks. I love the fact that this one wasn't just one colour. I pulled in the purple because obviously purple goes so well with the green as well. I think it's beautiful when you have just one colour as well. So this is just obviously bringing the green in with the leaves, and this one I've added a few little sequins to as well, but again just using that little tiny diamond stencil as well, just to give that dimension and that texture to it as well. Then we've got our purple one, and again just watercoloring the butterfly. This time I've used quite a bit of glitter glue on here, so it's changed the colour, but it's matched in with the glimmer paste as well, because obviously it takes on the colour that's underneath. And then we've got the orange one, so quite similar to what we've just done, just with a different butterfly, but just with one flower. Again, some gold sequins and some gems which just add that extra little sparkle as well. Then we have our yellow one, which was Thankful for You. This one I've used a hexagonal stencil that I had as well, so that's really nice. Again, it's always the three, you can put them in different places, but if you do 3 different areas, I think that's a really nice balanced look to your card then. And then the pink one, which I have to say I think this is absolutely gorgeous. This was my picked and not pickled raspberry, but it will always be pickled raspberry to me. And again, just that ombre effect, so a few diamonds, that'd be nice. A few sequins even, and just like this one I just put a little bit of glitter glue in the centres. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Let's swing you around. Oh, don't want to see my list. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you ever so much for joining me, and I will be back next Thursday with another technique. Not sure what yet, but I will find something. And yeah, so I will upload this to YouTube as well. But thanks ever so much for joining me, and I will go back through the comments and I'll answer everything. So thank you ever so much. See you again soon, and thanks for joining me. Bye.